Let's look at an example of how we can calculate some things using a PDF, a probability density function. So the distribution of IQ scores, X, of students in a certain district is represented by the density function below. We want to know what percentage of people have an IQ less than 70, what percentage of people have an IQ greater than 150, and what percentage of people have an IQ between 80 and 140. So let's start with what percentage of people have an IQ less than 70. So here, when we look at our distribution, we want to find the area under the curve from 0 to 70. Less than 70 defines everything less than 70, and since our whole interval is 0 to 200, that means we're looking from 0 to 70. In order to get the height of this little triangle, we use the fact that everything is evenly distributed. So here, our whole length is 200. So we take 0.01, divide by 200, that's going to give us the length of 1 unit, and then we multiply that by 70. So that will give us a height of 0.0035. So now, in order to get the area from 0 to 70, we use area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. My base is 70 units long. My height is 0.0035. So 1/2 base times height is 0.1225. So that means that 12.25% of this population have an IQ less than 70. Let's move on to part B. What percentage of people have an IQ greater than 150? So here, we're looking for area B, greater than 150. We know that the upper limit is 200, so we're looking for the area between 150 and 200. Now again, to work with this, we're going to need to know the height at 150. So again, we take the height of the entire interval, 0.01, divide by 200, and then multiply by 150. That'll give us the height at that time, which is 0.0075. Now, the easiest way to calculate this is going to be using the fact that the entire area is 1. So here, the entire giant triangle has an area of 1, and if we subtract off area A, which is everything between 0 and 150, that'll leave us with this area B that we want. So how do we get area A? Again, 1/2 base times height. So 1/2 base is 150 units long. My height is 0.0075. So I do 1/2 base times height, and I subtract that from 1, the entire area, which will leave me with just this B. So when I put that all into the calculator, 1 minus 150 times 0.0075 divided by 2, that gives me 0.4375. So 43.75% of this population have an IQ greater than 150. Notice you could have also divided B into a triangle and a rectangle and calculated it that way. It'll give you the same answer. Now, for part C, what percentage of people have an IQ between 80 and 140? So now we're smack dab in the middle of our triangle. So we have to break this up into things we know how to calculate. So again, we're going to need the height at 80 and the height at 140 to figure out some things. So to get the height at 80, we divide 0.01 by 200, multiply by 80, that gives us 0.004. For 140, we take 0.01, divide by 200, multiply by 140, that gives me a height of 0.007. And now, this shape we want to divide up into things we know. So we draw the line across so that we have a rectangle and a triangle. Those are two things we know how to calculate. So we need to find the area of A and the area of B to get the total area between 80 and 140. So let's start with area A. For area A, again, we're going to do 1/2 base times height because it's a triangle. So the base here is from 80 to 140. That's 60 units long. The height is going to be from 0.004 to 0.007, which is a height of 0.003, the difference between the two. So base times height times 1/2 will give us 0.09 for area A. For area B, we're going to do the area of a rectangle. So we're going to do this base, which we said was 60 because we went from 80 to 140, and then the height is 0.004. So 60 times 0.004 is 0.24. So the total area, A plus B, is 0.09 plus 0.24, which gives us a total of 0.33. So what that tells us is that 33% of the population has an IQ between 80 and 140. So whenever you're presented with a problem and you're working with PDFs, you want to break it down into shapes we know. We're looking at triangles and rectangles, and then from there you can calculate any percentages that you need.